She was music, laughter, and play in our lives. That's what's missing from our home now. And the shape of that silence is agonizing. Neither a storm nor a river took her from us. The Eastland's complacency, hubris, and choices took her from her family, from her life, and from her future. Chairs, vice chairs, and members of this joint committee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My testimony has changed a bit in light of what we heard from the Eastland family today. I haven't seen y'all yet, so thank you for making eye contact with me for the first time in almost 10 months. I thank you in advance for your indulgence. There's a lot to address. My name is CiCi Steward. I am here on the behalf of myself, my husband, Will Steward, and our youngest daughter, Millie, who I would never succumb to an environment like this. But most of all, I'm here to speak for our oldest daughter, my precious Cile. I didn't even bring a photo today because I know that each of you know who she is, and you have seen this photo, and it continues. Tomorrow will mark 10 months since I hugged and held my 8-year-old daughter for the last time. 10 months since she spoke her last words to me. Don't worry, Mommy, I'll be okay. But we all know she was not okay. No child in Bubble In, Twins 1, or Twins 2 could have been. The horrors that Cile and the other children and counselors endured that night, the darkness, the thrashing, the desperate fight for breath and survival, play on an endless loop in my mind. It is a place no mother should ever have to imagine, and yet one I cannot escape. Our family will always live in two halves, before July 4th and after. And in conversations with friends, I don't even have to say July 4th. It's before and after. Since I testified before you in September, I cannot believe that I am here again today with the same desperation I had over 7 months ago. Cile is still out there, somewhere in the ruin of that river, and our families are still pleading for answers and accountability. On April 20th, a week ago yesterday, the same day that each of you had your Camp Mystic site visit, I was also in Hunt, Texas. It was raining hard. A stark reminder, I hope, of the reason of why you were all out there. I stood along the banks of the river, calling out to my sweet baby spirit, asking her to help us bring her home. Yesterday, Inspector Garrett raised the issue of the lack of incident command in the first 24 hours, which certainly merits investigation and change. We know those first 24 hours, as Chief Nim Kidd said as well, and we all know are the most important critical hours. That said, my family has only endured this purgatory because of the valiant and dedicated efforts of the state of Texas to find Cile. So I do want to thank each of you, Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, Speaker Burrows, and especially Nim Kidd, and the Texas Rangers that have sacrificed so much over the last 10 years. Feels like it, but also not. Last 10 months. So, why are we here? We know a lot of why, but Camp Mystic was licensed by this state and entrusted by this state as a for-profit business whose business was taking care of and protecting our children. The Eastland family swore to you and our families that Camp Mystic was safe, prepared, and ready. And now, we all know that they lied to us. Up until today, when Representative Meyer, you pressed them for that answer. You had to explain multiple times what you were asking, but I'm glad that you finally got the answer. No, they were not prepared. So thank you for that. Those lies of safety, preparedness, and readiness caused the greatest mass casualty event involving children in the history of the state, more than Uvalde, more than Sandy Hook. The Eastlands admitted under oath that they abandoned my daughter. They abandoned all of our daughters. They left Cile with an impossible and unforgivable choice. Drown in her cabin or fight violent floodwaters in the dark in a blind, desperate effort to save herself. The Eastlands can blame no one but themselves for the planning, training, and equipment they chose not to invest in. You've heard plenty by now of the Eastlands' evacuation plan. The Eastlands cavalierly insist, hey, we had a plan, you just didn't like it. Well, excuse my language, but damn right we didn't like it. Their so-called plan killed our daughters. 7 inches of rain, 12 inches of rain, 4 inches of rain, it does not matter. Shelter in place was a death sentence camouflaged as safety. Dick Eastland enforced a culture of obedience so powerful that their staff, including the directors of the camp and his children, were afraid to assist helpless children if it meant defying Dick's orders. The titled director demands diligence, not deference to dad. The Eastlands operated on obedience, faith, and complacency, and called it a plan. They rolled the dice each year and waited for the river to prove them wrong. And ultimately, while our children waited for rescue that would never come, the family obligated to protect them was improvising, sleeping, or saving themselves. And still, none seemed to know where Richard was that night, but boy, was he an authority today. The Eastlands have proven themselves incapable of protecting children. They made decisions for themselves that they admittedly denied for everyone else. The Eastlands are trying to bully their way into a license to operate camp in just a few weeks. And they told you today that they will appeal and keep operating if you deny that license. The Eastlands claim Cypress Lake is higher, it's different, it's unconnected, it's safe, but it's the same ownership, the same leadership, the same staff, the same culture, the same poor judgment. The state of Texas cannot, under any kind of scenario, certify to a parent that this family is qualified to ever watch children again. Nothing the Eastlands could do will eliminate the fundamental failures that killed my daughter, the reckless and incompetent judgment of the Eastland family. You can install sirens. You can promise you will do better next time or do the next right thing. Also, a song from Frozen 2. You cannot install judgment. You cannot retrofit character. If the operators stop being fit, or possibly were never fit, the premise of any license collapses with them. The Eastland family could transfer this entire camp to the arid desert of Big Bend with nary a drop of water in sight, and it would not make a difference. No camp will be safe for any child as long as the Eastlands are associated with it. This committee may think it has no bearing on that decision, but you do, and you should. DSHS has asked you for your findings. Nothing should stop you or the state of Texas from preventing future tragedy. Isn't that why we're here? And isn't Camp Mystic, the Easton family, in open defiance and violation of the very laws you helped pass in our daughters' names, as evident in their much discussed 11-page deficiencies letter from DSHS? They cannot even be bothered to comply with the most basic requirements for licensure, submitting incomplete and outdated documents, calling it a mistake, an administrative oopsie-daisy by the guy who runs the kitchen, as if safety and compliance should not be their utmost priority, especially while under an active criminal investigation. Senator Kolkhorst, thank you for addressing the Eastlands' failures to report deaths to DSHS. Not within 24 hours, not by the date of our hearing a couple weeks ago, and not even now, today. When Mary Liz was asked about this in court, it was the first time she had even read the law that governs her conduct. She was the health officer. It was her job to know. It was her job to report. She did neither, and still hasn't. She is defiant and blames the camp for not reporting the deaths, the camp of which she is a director and owner. There is, however, one child she perhaps hasn't had to report yet, and that's Cile. The Eastland family markets its camp as a Christian ministry, a camp whose walls and songs and traditions all testify to the same thing, that the adults in charge are serving something higher than themselves. But the way the Eastlands have chosen to treat my family has been callous, absent, false, and demeaning. I expected that the first name on their lips every morning would be the name of the child not yet brought home. But I didn't hear Cile's name from them until I publicly demanded that they acknowledge her and that she was still missing back in September. I expected a ministry to minister to the families it had broken before it ministered to itself. My family was forced to file for an injunction to stop them from further destroying evidence so we can find out what happened to our daughters. We just want answers. We deserve that. It took 4 days of hard-fought testimony. It took a judicial order twice to command them to stop. And even then, they've appealed it. And at one point, one of Camp Mystic's own lawyers in front of me in open court approached my attorneys and told them they were going to burn in hell. The lawyers of a Christian ministry camp told my lawyers that they're going to burn in hell for trying to help me find my daughter and learn the truth about what happened. And when questioned about it, the lawyer, Thomas Wright, said, "Oh, did I say that?" And he turned around and smirked. You can see it all on the video. He was proud. So, in just a few weeks, we'll be back in court. Lord knows what we'll see. The Eastlands want to move our case to arbitration, a closed-door proceeding to further shield themselves from public scrutiny and oversight. This, despite their promises of transparency and wanting answers and having nothing to hide. Sure. The Eastlands family's desire for truth rings as hollow as Britt Eastland's quote last week and again today, in which he stated, "The last thing we want to do is create any more pain for our parents who are grieving heavily." It certainly seems that way, Britt. So to the Eastlands, I don't know how to do this. Do not insult me by pretending that reopening is anything more than your family's attempt at self-preservation. Do not degrade me by pretending you care about safeguarding or reducing my pain. Do not ever tell our families that one day we will be happy that you opened camp this summer. You have no right to contemplate or presume our happiness. How dare you? Shame on you. You stole our happiness on July 4th. I had to leave this chamber when I heard that, so I didn't scream out loud. They believe that invocations of faith and ministry will shield them from consequences. But when a camp's response to the death of 27 children is to reopen, rebrand, and raise money, that is not a ministry. It is a business. You heard them loud and clear. Despite your pleas for them to take a step back and reflect, learn, and heal, Britt Eastland defiantly told you that, God willing, they'll be able to open this summer and make $3 to $4 million by doing so. And apparently one day I'll thank him for it. Off script also, considering the camper to counselor ratio, I went to camp there 10 years and I was a counselor for 2 years. And I almost always had 3 counselors. And what never seemed to be asked or addressed is it's almost $8,000 to attend camp for 1 month. And if they pay a counselor $1,000, well, let's just get another $8,000 in the pocket instead of paying a counselor for $1,000. Even the youngest ones who need the most help, as admitted. That's my anecdote on that. So, Britt, I got lost from my anecdote. After you, God willing, you'll be able to open. Britt, it's not God's decision. It's apparently yours. Walk away. Tend to your flock. Own your trauma. Your own family that is clearly broken. Cut the bleeding and stop the agony of our families. And if the Eastlands won't do the right thing, I ask this state to do it for them. None of them are equipped. How many more deaths are enough? So these days, I'm almost finished, or maybe not. These days, I find myself considering Cile's legacy, how she'll be remembered. It is not what I imagined for her, and certainly not what she imagined for herself. But I cannot bear the idea of Cile remaining known as Cile Steward, age 8, unaccounted for, the only mystic camper who is yet to be recovered. I haven't shared much publicly about Cile, who she was, what she loved, and who she wanted to be. I've been consumed with her recovery and fighting for accountability for what happened to her, not with telling the world about her. And frankly, I cherish every memory of her life and want to keep it close to my heart. But Cile's legacy is not a statistic. It is not a weather event. It is a parent's worst nightmare, but she was my daughter. And her absence is like the sky spread over everything. Cile would never want our pain to be the only thing that survived her. She was extraordinary. She was loved, and she was stolen from us. A hummingbird's heart beats 1,000 times a minute, its wings flapping so fast that they hum and vibrate. Cile moved through the world like a hummingbird, quick and bright and nimble, always in motion and hard to pin down even when she was standing right in front of you. Like my daughter, a hummingbird's life is often tragically short, but both burn bright while they're here. Full speed, full color, and far too brief. She was brave in the loud way that little girls are brave when they think nothing in the world can hurt them, because the adults who love them have promised them that nothing will. She was my twin, and not in the way that mothers sometimes mean. Something intrinsic in her was wired the same way in me. The same temperament, the same humor, the same lovable defiance. She felt things at high volume. She loved with the same ferocity. I recognized her the way you recognize your own reflection. My family and childhood friends delighted in hearing my parenting stories about Cile and how hard it was to parent myself. I will spend the rest of my life walking past mirrors and seeing the woman she should have been. And what was taken from us at Camp Mystic wasn't only her body, it was all of that motion, all the places she was still going to go, the whole long life she was owed. She was music, laughter, and play in our lives. That's what's missing from our home now. And the shape of that silence is agonizing. Neither a storm nor a river took her from us. The Eastland's complacency, hubris, and choices took her from her family, from her life, and from her future. You have to look at what happened and decide whether it counts. We can never give meaning to what happened, but we can all work together to give it purpose, to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again. I am not here to ask you to do anything that is not already within your power. I am asking you to use it, protect it, and strengthen it. Camp Mystic's license should not be renewed. If a child dies at a Texas camp this summer, it will not be because we lack the information to prevent it. It will be because we did not act on it. You can't rely on the Eastland family. They are defiant and blame everyone, but account to no one. Clearly, this family will not walk away willingly. They think they are above the law. So we need the state of Texas to make a decision we need the state of Texas to make a decision. Sorry, I got it. We need the state of Texas to make a decision the Eastlands refuse to make. We must get this right. This time, now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Steward. Incredibly powerful, and we, the state of Texas, will not rest until we find Cile for you and your family. Members, questions? Chair recognizes Representative Gomez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Steward, I'm so sorry for your loss. To everyone on this dais, I'm so sorry. I thank you for your bravery in that. you mentioned something that I hadn't heard before. Is you're stating that Camp Mystic is asking to push these issues into arbitration? They're alleging there's a mandatory arbitration clause in this?
Yes, I believe that's the week of the 13th and 14th of May, a mere 2 weeks before their first session to start.
I'm so sorry that you're continuing to go through this. I'm appalled. I don't believe that was the purpose of arbitration or the intent ever to allow that to happen. I don't believe it would serve the public interest or the welfare of the future camp attendees in the state of Texas to hinder and prevent this information from coming to light. So thank you for letting us know about that. That's something that we can definitely commit ourselves to looking into.
That'd be great. And to add to that, we have sat through 4 full, well, counting today, 5 days of testimony. Each day, I think, can't get worse than that. Yet each day, it is worse. I have no idea what else they want to hide, other than what they haven't told us. But it's clearly necessary and a public interest, like you said, that we get all the facts, the information, so we can prevent anything like this happening again. So thank you for your support in that.
Members, any questions? No questions. Chairman.
Thank you, Mrs. Steward. I appreciate all of y'all's bravery in being here, telling your story. We all know how incredibly tough this is. Y'all are so strong. It's just amazing to me, for sure.
Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and get the latest news by downloading the CBS Austin News app.